All right, next update. So I pulled the front hubs off. They were pretty easy to get off. They popped off the lower fitting there with a little bit of wrenching, undid the strut bolts, and then tapped the axle out. This is kind of in there somewhat tight, not super tight, but tapped it with a tool there to push it out. And that came out just fine. I removed the tie rod ends for the steering. And these were the original factory ones. You can see they have some type of like locking compound on there. And they were pretty snug. Also removed the link for the sway bar. So now this lower arm I can entirely remove by undoing the bolts back there, because we're going to replace those with the aluminum ones from the STI. Same on this side. So hubs removed. I'll remove the strut later. It's just 3 bolts at the top to pull the strut out. And then I'll pull the sway bar off. And I have new in links coming for the tie rod ends for the steering. The axles look to be in good condition. The threads are good there, and these seem fine. There's no leaking grease anywhere, so those all look good. And of course, here are the hubs, which are definitely in need of a little bit of work. They're kind of rusty. But we will put these on the press and press out the bearing. You press out the hub first, and then there's a little locking ring on the other side. You take out, and then you press that out. So we'll get that pressed out and get new bearings into both of the hubs. While they're apart, I'm going to sandblast them to get rid of all the rust and kind of strip them out a little bit. I'll replace the wheel studs with new wheel studs. And then I'll repaint them so they'll be rust resistant. I do have a cabinet for doing sandblasting that needs a little bit of work. So it's one of the Harbor Freight ones, which are quite useful. But anyone who's used these knows that the feed mechanism for the way it picks up the material is with a tube that goes down the material, and it's quite terrible. It doesn't work very well. And there are some excellent kits to upgrade these with a new gun, but they have you basically take a little plate off the bottom and put a feed pipe in there so that it gravity feeds into a little mechanism that mixes the air and shoots into the gun. I have some new gloves coming and a new piece of glass for this up here. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up a little bit and kind of refurbished enough so that we can do a little bit of sandblasting. And then I have a lot of plastic pieces that need to be cleaned up still, along with that lower metal piece. So we'll try to get that stripped off and repainted. Yeah, so I'll continue to work on probably getting those hubs taken apart. Maybe I'll next also do the rear of the car, take the rear brakes off, because there's the mechanism in here for the parking brake, which is kind of a pain. Get all that taken apart so I can also remove the rear hubs. And the rear hubs are kind of notorious for being kind of a pain to get the bearing out, so we'll work on that a little bit. And also remove the strut and the sway bar, because I have new parts coming in for that. So, yep, we're making progress.